Oh man, there's been a lot of chatter recently, and apparently, PlayStation fans are salty. But are they really though? Or are these guys just being toxic? Hmm. Let's talk about it. Let's get into the video. Alright, what's going on, guys? It's that guy Ken, and I'm back again just to make another video for you guys. I know it's been a while since I've actually uploaded anything. I think it's been like 2-3 months. It's been a while, but I had to come out and I had to talk about this because it's just a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and I felt the need to just come out and make a video and talk about some of this stuff. Now, this particular video is going to be kind of part of like a little bit of a series of videos that are all kind of related, but they're all going to be from different perspectives, and I'm going to have a different conversation for each one. But in this particular video, I want to talk about just the idea of like a toxic community, in particular the Xbox community and their fanboys. And I want to talk about just how, there's just such a culture around toxicity. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. But, just to kick it off, man, just to preface the video, if you haven't heard, Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard, which means that they have control of, a bunch of IP from, Overwatch to World of Warcraft to StarCraft to the biggest one, I believe, being Call of Duty, right? And apparently a lot of, PlayStation fans are salty about this. I'm not really going to get into the specifics of the acquisition. I'm going to actually do that in another video coming up probably in the next couple of days or so. But I really want to talk about this whole thing about the toxic community, man. Now, I did kind of want to preface the video by saying, if you look at the history of, Microsoft, specifically, I want to say around the 360 time, around that time, I believe that's kind of like where it kind of started, at least at its base level. I believe the majority of it sort of like took off back in 2013 when Microsoft had their disaster reveal at the time. But yeah, Microsoft is, they've kind of had different situations where they've, sort of showed this kind of like toxic nature or toxic behavior. One of which being, I remember back during, the 360 era, they acquired, not that they acquired, but they were able to get Final Fantasy off of the PlayStation platform, which, if you guys don't know, Final Fantasy was known to be a PlayStation franchise, right? And that was something that they sort of like pushed and whatnot at the time. And, they were able to do that with other franchises and stuff like that as well. So they kind of used PlayStation and not their IP that they own, but the IP that were available on their platform to sort of like elevate this sort of, position and behavior that they were doing, right? Phil Spencer, when he took over Xbox back in 2014, he had this vision of, sort of bringing back the community, after the disaster back in 2013. And that's really what he was going for. He really aimed to try to like mend the community and mend the damage that had been done to the brand itself, because there was a lot of damage that had been done at the time, right? And I have to give them props, man, because what they've been able to do is basically create a strong community of people, man, who are incredibly loyal, if you want to look at it that way. But they've I think a lot of the toxic nature came from just such, because you got to remember, man, in 2013, all the way from 2013, pretty much until the launch of the Series X and, where we are now, a lot of these fans who were huge fans of this brand, right, had to deal with like years of abuse. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever likes it when, you tell them that something that they like is not good, or something that they like is trash, or whatever the case is, right? Nobody ever likes that. Imagine taking that for 6 years. So I think there's a lot of like unmended damage from that time frame. Now that a lot of the people from this community, the Xbox community, right, the fanboys, right, who have, they never really kind of got over that, and I think they've kind of carried that along with them, that sort of like vitriol for the PlayStation community and what they did, throughout the lifetime of the 360, right? And not to mention, if you don't really kind of know, but social media wasn't like as big as it was, or as it is now. So like right around like that time, I want to say like 2009, 10, around 2011, 12, like right around that time, social media was really, really starting to kind of like, grab a foothold. So it started to give people a platform. Obviously it wasn't what it is now, and see, now they were able to build the building blocks, of what people are able to do with these platforms now, as far as like giving, I guess you could say, like the average person a voice, right? So now you have these group of people, right, where they have a company that enforces this nature. You have 7 years of abuse, and now you have a platform in order for you to exercise your opinion, which is fine. Now all of these things, like the whole thing with Final Fantasy, and you being able to kind of like say what it is that you want and express your opinion in itself is not really a bad thing, right? But it's obviously turned from you just sort of like getting your opinion out there to others to this sort of like very, very toxic nature. And the reason why is because this is the major point, right? A lot of these guys don't care about what it is that they're actually getting. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about the consequences. They don't care about what actually happens. All that they care is about getting a win. You know what I'm saying? Because they had been abused for so long, they just care about winning. It doesn't matter what they did get or what they didn't get. They just want to know that they won. You know what I'm saying? In any facet of the imagination. If it's one teraflop better, you know what I'm saying? It's a win. You know what I'm saying? If like, for example, with Activision, right? The only thing that Activision really did, because they didn't give them any new games, what they did was they're alluding to the fact that these games are just not going to be on PlayStation anymore, right? To them, that's a win. It's like, see, it's different. So like on the PlayStation side, right? Whenever we consider something to be like a win, it's either like a game that we have, something that came out, maybe even something as stupid as like the Metacritic score, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Tit for tat, it's nothing crazy, right? But when you literally have a group of people who are celebrating something that you didn't get, right? Mind you, Activision didn't provide any new games. The only thing that these guys are happy for is the fact that it's not going to be on PlayStation. That's it. Like, it'd be different if they were excited for new games. No, they're not excited for new games. They're just excited to win. And then they don't even care about the consequences of what this could actually do. And you know what? They don't want to know. They don't want to care. Why? Because it's just a win. So now you have all of these people who are pushing this stuff into people's faces, talking about like, oh, you're salty, you're this, you're that. It's just like, and it's like, well, can you blame people for not being, absolutely happy about this? Because it just doesn't function the same. Sony and Microsoft, the way that they approach their acquisitions and their business practices are just not the same. You know what I'm saying? And people keep trying to like create these parodies, and it's just not the same. And I'm gonna go into more detail about that in another video. I'm not gonna go into this one, but I have to give Microsoft props, man, because when Phil Spencer came into the position that he had, or that he has now as head of Xbox, man, that was his goal. His goal was to create a strong community of people, around their brand, which in itself isn't bad, but they reinforce such toxic behavior. I mean, just look at, you know, like Aaron Greenberg, for example, the whole thing with the Crash Bandicoot and the IP, and his, you know, it's like, I'm gonna put a picture in there for you, but it's like ridiculous, man. You know, that kind of behavior shouldn't be condoned, right? And others as well, but it is what it is, man. But yeah, man, Microsoft, they've been very successful at creating a very cult-ish like community of people who don't care about quality, who don't care about what they get, they don't care about the consequences, they just care about getting a win. So, but that's pretty much all I had to say today, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, drop another video probably tomorrow or the day after. I'm gonna have a couple of videos talking about some of this stuff from other perspectives, but that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. Just make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.